one, trouble. Last one. One more. That's it. One more. Last one. Last one, trouble. No more. All right, everyone. Welcome back. Good afternoon. We're here for another session for the New York afternoon session here on January the 9th. For everyone who was on the morning session, welcome back. Thanks for rejoining and hanging out with me today. And for everyone just joining for today, either brand new or you missed the morning session, good to see you. Good to hear from you. Welcome. We'll give everyone a couple minutes to trickle in before we get going. No more trouble. There's no more. Hello, Anis. Going. Calm down. Just give me a second. Let me take my dog out of the room. right, so he's back. Let me take him out one more time. Come on. All right, there we go. No, I'm not in a trade. Daniel, I am not in a trade right now. Okay, so you took this fair value gap. Okay. If I had taken that fair value gap, I would likely already be out just because of my rule of going 1 to 2. Yeah, the risk was only 8.25. So I'd be looking for 16.5 points. Yep, my trade would have been over by now if I was in there. But congratulations to you. All right, let's just take a higher view for those who weren't on this morning. So we essentially had from yesterday's activity, I mean, we just had bullish momentum all the way into the closing bell. So this is the 3 o'clock candle, finished at the high of the day. Usually 4 o'clock doesn't bring much. But then the Asia session just kind of consolidated for a few hours. And then we saw it just run down through London all the way this morning until about 9 o'clock. From there, we saw the opening bell drive price higher. And even though it wasn't the best price action, it still was consistently moving upwards. As you can see, this is the hourly candle. Even if I switch down to the 15, you'll still see that price was consistently moving upwards. Had 2 trades this morning. Had a short that didn't work out for me down in this area. Then I tried to take a long over around 10:30, and I missed it by like 2 points. It didn't retrace far enough for my entry. So I wasn't able to get in, and then price went to target there, and then it just continued all the way up until till the lunch hour, and we still see price moving higher. If I take a peek over at the dollar so far this hour is not doing very much, similar to what it did last hour. Actually, let me pull this down so you can see what I'm talking about. And let me move this out of the way. Okay. So now if we look at the US dollar on the far left, you can see what it's doing on the hourly. The dollar during the lunch hour just, kind of made a little bit of progress, but for the most part, traded up, traded down, and was close to where it opened. And now this hour, we see it traded down, but now it's moving closer to where it opened. The Dow earlier, the Dow was the one leading the pack as far as pushing downwards. As you can see between the S&P from yesterday's range, the S&P retraced to 38%, not quite to the 50. But the Dow just kept running and running and running and got all the way down to the 83.5% mark before it started to show some bullish activity. And that's where we were kind of stuck this morning because the Dow was just running and running, and the S&P and the Nasdaq looked similar to this, where it was like a 38% retracement to this level, maybe a little further, and then it started to show some type of bullish activity. So anyone who took a long after 10 o'clock or so had a pretty good trade going. If they were able to have their stop loss in a secure position, and then had diamond hands and was able to hold, there was a lot of points to be gained this morning for anyone going long. Now, if I switch back over to our normal chart, right, and we can see during the lunch hour, not a lot of progress was made. Dipped down into this fair value gap a little bit, and then it started buying out. The next level that I have marked on the chart, 877, is a swing low from the 2nd of January, I believe. Just go back and check that out. Just make sure. No, actually 877 is, excuse me, a high from the 2nd of January. The level after that is a swing low from December 29th. But January 2nd at about opening bell, this is the swing high. And I had that as the next target that price would hit 877.5. So we'll see if it still wants to move higher and take out that target, or if we start seeing it displace lower. But for now, we want to wait and see where price wants to move next um, without jumping in the market. I don't really see anything that's pulling me in right now. So I'm just gonna sit on the sideline and wait. Well, did it? All right, give me one moment. Go trouble. Okay. Go, go, go trouble. No, go, go, go trouble. Well, then, yes, as price was building up, we've had several targets along the way, and each of them, for instance, we targeted the Asia low, we targeted the new day opening gap right here, we targeted the previous day high, and it just kept moving forward and taking out each target. So we just identify the next one, and the next target is 878 and a quarter, or I'm sorry, 877 and three quarters. Sorry about that. Yep, 877. Yep. So then you'll have two areas marked up. The next one is 877, and then the one after that is 938, assuming it still wants to go higher. Let me drop down to the 1 and 2 minute just to see if I notice anything. Hmm. All right, I want to see if price finds support in this little fair value gap and pushes towards these equal highs. Then 877 would follow next. All right, 877 is a previous high. It's a previous high that we had from the 2nd of January. Show you on the 15 minutes. Yep. So you have a swing high here. January 2nd at the opening bell, 9 in the morning. Yes, I am David. I'm long. Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Daniel, I'm long. Aiming for price to take out the equal highs and push a little bit higher. Right, so far, price not showing a willingness to move strongly in either direction. Right. Not a great sign. Let's see how this candle closes out. Another 30 seconds. Right. Not awesome at all. What we're going to do, I'm going to cut this one. Didn't like how it closed below the fair value gap. Also, price really hasn't been moving upwards. We had this downward slope here. So not looking good. Need to start trusting my instinct and just sitting on the sidelines. That's okay. All right. We now have, as of the last 2 minutes or so, the dollar is buying, and we have the indices all selling. Let's just measure this retracement back. Right, so we already had seen a 61% had failed to make new highs after getting this far. Now we're making new lows past the 71%, approaching 78.6 on the retracement. All right, we'll see if this fair value gap holds up. I mean, you can see price pushed through, but before closing was able to push back above and still close above the fair value gap. And one thing that's interesting to note is that it's right at the 71%. So it could hold, and we want to just wait and see. The dollar is still pushing. And we have the other two indices pushing lower. So I would expect Nasdaq to also push lower, in line with the Dow and with the S&P. Yep. And the one thing that we did get was S&P took out its high from yesterday, just like we had Nasdaq just before lunch. Let's move up in time frame. We'll hang out on the 5-minute for the time being. Yeah. Hey, there we go. All right. So we can remove this trend line. We had sweep of lows. We're definitely in bearish territory now. Hey, we're now at 130. 130. Okay, this is the previous day high. I just retested. Edward, normally I am, yes, but today I am not. It's an absence of news, so I'm not doing evaluation today, just paper trading. But still, it's so far today I've been off sides twice, and I think it's probably best that I sit on the sidelines. The one time I was on side, it didn't fill me, so it didn't materialize, even though it would have been a good trade, but it didn't fill. Yeah, say equal lows targeted here on this 5-minute. Now nearing the lower extremity of the fair value gap as it approaches the new day opening gap down at 788 and then the midnight open at 782. All right, so we had lunchtime. These equal lows were also lunchtime lows. For anyone who pays attention to the different session highs and lows, we had lunchtime lows run. Also, lunchtime highs run. That was the opening at 1300. So we ran the highs, came down and swept the lows. So now the high and lows are done. We'll see where price wants to go next, whether it starts to attack morning highs and lows, or whether it wants to just continue up being bullish. But right now, the dollar is not letting up. Right, get back down to lower time frame just to see if see what's going on. All right, new set of equal lows here. As of now, we're waiting. There is no plan. I'm not actively engaged in a trade. We've been chasing highs all day, and this is for in August. Yeah, so I'm just waiting. I'm waiting now to see where price goes from here. And it did make a market structure shift. So if it wants to continue pushing lower, then I'll look for that type of entry. But as of now, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for price to show me what's next. Also, I'm looking at the dollar to see if it wants to continue higher. Even if it does, then I will confirm looking for lower prices on the indices. But for now, I'm kind of in a holding pattern, sitting on my hands, not doing much. Um, but there are others in the room that are already locked into positions, mostly shorts. I don't think anyone's in a long right now, but there are some others in the room that are in shorts. Yeah, I'm gonna wait until about 2 o'clock, and I'll see where we are at 2 o'clock, and that'll determine if I look for another entry or not. So another 15 minutes. Oh, invest. There you go. Finally found you. That's because you're not subscribed. If you subscribed, you would have gotten an invitation. It would have been on your homepage. Hello, Rabbit. Welcome back. A ton of patience, quite a bit, but it's okay. It's okay. That's really the only way to be successful here. It's to be willing and able to do that. All right, we just swept highs. Let's see if the dollar is continuing to buy, and it is absolutely. It's at its hourly high right now. We now have the Dow also moving back towards a buy position for the hour. That's weird. Maybe double check and see if notifications on. Maybe that's the issue. But anyway, I'm glad to have you back. Right now it's neither, but price action looks to be switching back to possibly a long setup, but it's still kind of in the air right now. So we move to higher time frame, see if it's clearer. Right. See, even though it looks long, price could fail here at this fair value gap and then push back lower. So it looks long, but it's not confirmed yet. Okay, let's measure what we're looking at. Yep, so now we're nearing a 71% mark. But one thing we do want to do is to check and make sure that price does break through the fair value gap and close on the other side. There's still another 3.5 minutes until we get there. Excuse me. Okay. Yes, we did get a retest of yesterday's high. So previous day high right here. You can see it denoted here at 811. All right, that long I tried to take earlier, about 45 minutes ago. Remember, I was targeting these equal highs. $800. Okay. Wow. Not bad. If you got in around 16,800, that's an excellent entry. All right, we'll see if we can't sweep this level in the next 10 to 15 minutes. Have a market structure shift during this macro period. Okay, 25 seconds behind. All right, that's about normal, but I'll look and see if there's anything I can do. I think the best I can do is to get it around 15, 20 seconds. Hmm. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I like to draw my own fair value gaps, only because it gives the new box feature gives you that 50% mark. And you can see when it traded into this fair value gap that it closed above the 50% mark. On the next one, it opened above, traded below, but still closed above. And then we see the bullish momentum afterwards. As we get close to 2 o'clock, I just want to get into a lower time frame just in case we see something we like at right at 2 o'clock. All right, everyone. We're closing out the first hour of this afternoon session. If you guys could do me a big help and hit the like button, just so YouTube knows that you're enjoying the content today. That'll help them promote the channel for other traders for this afternoon, and we can get some more in the room. The more the merrier. So let's see if we can't get a few more before we close out today. And again, thank you for your support as always. Okay, one more minute before 2 o'clock. If we can't get a continuation here. Oops. Oh no, just want to do one. Change of character. It's I believe it's the same as like market structure shift. Rabbit. No, I don't have a portfolio to discuss here. Um, we're just looking at indice futures and just trading either the S&P or Nasdaq. So this setup here with my attempt at taking a silver bullet at 10 o'clock. This candle right here is at 150. I'm sorry, not 10 o'clock, at 2 o'clock. This candle right here that did tap into the fair value gap is 159. So not 2 o'clock yet. I was waiting for the next candle at 2 o'clock to then dip in. And so far that hasn't happened. And I was just targeting a 1 to 2 setup, which takes me right to around these highs. Um, but if you wanted to, you could take these highs and then you would target the next one, which is also relative equal highs at 868. And then we have 877 as well from the morning session. We've been looking at, matter of fact, 877 we looked at yesterday and we thought the afternoon might get us there, but it didn't. All right. Thank you, everyone, for the likes. I appreciate it. Mind the guys, I do not know. I know I win more than I lose, but I don't have a number to give you. I also know a lot of my wins come from tight stop losses or those kind of things, and then price still runs to the direction that I saw it going. All right, there it is. I'll cancel my limit order. So second time today, I didn't get filled and price delivered what I wanted. I'll move that out the way, and we'll look and see if something else sets up. For anyone who was able to get in and got in a minute before the 2 o'clock bell or the 2 o'clock hour, congrats to you. No, actually, my buy was based on this one right here. This 1 minute fair value gap. Now it might be the same on the 5 minute. I'm not sure. Nope. But yeah, it was based on this 1 minute fair value gap right here at 837 and a quarter. So what I like to do is to enter at the very first point or first tick of the fair value gap, and then I like to put my stop, the candle to the left, the lower wick. And then I like to go for a 1 to 2 risk reward. Nice. Good job, Rabbit. All right, so running that high. All right, up next would be the equal highs at 868. Thank you. Yeah, it was a nice setup. It just wasn't for me, it seems. But yeah, I tried to do it as the silver bullet, which so you had to wait until 10 o'clock, until 2 o'clock, which is why I did wait till 2 o'clock. Otherwise, yeah, that was the right move to take. Because what we could have did is because there was a market structure shift and sweeping this high right here during the 150 to 210 time frame, then we could have really just taken the nearest fair value gap that we found, um, which in that case would have been here. But honestly, you know what? We could have been faked out on this one. So, so I did the right thing by waiting until 2 o'clock. I was a minute too late. Let's see if we can get this one to go. Let's go and check on everyone else. All right, we have the dollar stalling at the moment, slightly bearish, but not a big range to speak about. I mean, I know it's only been 10 minutes, and we have the Dow and S&P not in sync. Yeah, so definitely not the highest probability trade if we get tapped in right now. So you're going to make sure if you're entering a trade during this time that you are being careful and watching your risk, watching your lot size or your contract size. All right, let's see now if this fair value gap supports price. We want to see candle bodies remain above, or at least above the 50% line on closure. All right, that's not good so far. Mm, mm, mm. Mm. All right, back to the sidelines we go. Yep, not at all. Yeah, these are difficult days, especially when you don't have a lot of news. That big push down, it was the dollar as well as all indices did the same move. And now they're all retracing. So it's not ideal situation. Right, as we're pushing lower, let's watch out for these equal lows down here. Nah, it's not talking to me, so I'll leave that one alone. $16,690. Oh, wow. That's a little ways from where we are now, Samuel. Get a feel of the 5 minute below. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, at 813. Okay. It came down almost to the bottom of this fair value gap, and now it's already pushed up 15 points. Don't be sad, Mr. Sticky. Yeah, you want to trade your evaluation account on days that there's news. The price action is more reliable. You'll generally see the indices paired up and moving in the same direction. So it's better to do it on those days anyway. Plus, you get low resistance movement, and so you see price run to target pretty quickly. On days like today, you get a lot of back and forth action or really slow progress. We're still in the range between 1 o'clock and 1:30. We're just trading in that range right now, towards the center of it actually. Be back. I'm just gonna go refill my water. All right, I'm back. See where we are. Let's measure this range to see where we are. Yep, right around that middle point. Dan, I'm not in anything right now, long or short. I'm not in anything. I'm just watching. 783 and then push up. Okay. So basically get down to the midnight open and then start pushing. Yeah, good. It's possible. So I just put the 50% mark for this area from 1 o'clock down to 1:30, just so we can see where we are in this price range. But we've been hugging the 50% mark for a little while now. Okay, we still have indices selling for the hour so far, S&P and the Dow, as well as Nasdaq, and then we have the dollar is at its opening price, so it's sold off, and then it's now made a full retracement back to the opening price of the hour. Yep, yeah, no one likes those. I hear what you're saying. That's what happens. You get in between two fair value gaps, it just kind of bounces back and forth, and I just like to wait and see which one wins, and then see if there's a setup afterwards. All right, still not a lot of movement here. All right, we just passed 2:30, so we're about halfway through today's session, this afternoon session. But yeah, it's 2:30, and so far, the last half hour hasn't really brought us much. Just saw it retrace back into this area here, and there was a fair value gap here, which just disappeared. Based on this candle's closure. Oops. But otherwise, not a lot to talk about. There was a retest into this fair value gap, but we don't see an impulsive candle pushing upwards. The last time we tested this fair value gap, it rejected out from this candle at 220, so a little over 10 minutes ago. And so we're still waiting. This dashed line in the center splits it into 50%, so we can see when we cross that threshold. But right now, yeah, we're still in a waiting pattern. There's not a lot to talk about. Yeah, it's possible. If someone was looking for this to be an inversion, I think this is what you're talking about, Elmer. Um, so now we see if price rejects this 50% level and pushes down lower, because it started out as bullish, then we can make the order green. Oops, sorry, order red. There we go. Right, let's give it another 90 seconds. Let's see where it closes. Right, another 30 seconds. Remember, in this zone here, if you're looking to go short, you'd rather do it in this section. Okay, so we did get a closure below the 50%, but it was above um, this inversion fair value gap, which I guess didn't turn out to be an inversion. So we'll just remove that for now. We'll see if we get some sort of push downwards, maybe out of this fair value gap, or if price pushes through and then creates higher prices, and we seek out these relative equal highs en route to these equal highs. Yeah, you're right. It did create a lower low for a structure break, but that was done over here, and then we just haven't seen a new low put in. All right, so we keep getting rejection at this 50% price point right here at 33 and a half. We've had one, two, three, four times in the last 25 minutes where price has pushed through, yet always close below. We still have another 2.5 minutes on this candle, so it's not done yet. But right now it is pushing for lower prices. Nice, nice, good job. Okay, about another minute until closing. Okay, dollar's starting to pick up its momentum again, where it's pushing higher. Still see S&P and the Dow pushing towards lower values. And right now, we're still stuck in the zone here on Nasdaq. Right, but although we're stuck in the zone, it is looking a bit bearish. 139 to 145. Let's see. If price breaks below, it could be possibly. I would say your breaker would actually be here, though. Oops. And that would have been your breaker. So when you broke above, you would have entered when it came back in and took it up. Right. And then we would be in that breaker again right now. Yep. No, it's 131. So it could be this one, right? But you needed to then go above, which it did, all the way up to here. But now you need it to come below. So if price breaks below and we end up trading down here, then yes, these two down close candles could become your breaker. You're looking for a bearish breaker. Yeah, so that's what you would be looking for. Right. So for a bearish breaker, first price needs to break above, and then you need it to break below. So you're right. It could be these two. Yep. But you need price to trade down here and then retest back up and then down. All right. Let's see if we can get this short scalp. This purple line here, this line right here, I think is the 20, EMA 20. Yep. All right. See if we can get this short scalp together. If this doesn't work, then yeah, I'm gonna throw in the towel for the day and just say, you know what, I'm on the sideline. Let me just watch. Clearly, I'm not seeing the market well. Hello, welcome to the channel. Alrighty, there we go. So that's my last trade of the day. AAM, I do not trade gold. No, I don't. Mm-mm. Yep, so we got sideways action ever since 1:30. Well, not really 1:30, more like 2 o'clock, just kind of staying in this same zone. Thought we were getting expansion all the way up until 2 o'clock and it's just kind of died on us. So we'll continue to monitor and continue to watch price action to see what's next. But we have the dollar still towards its hourly highs. I mean, it's not making a lot of progress, but it's also not retracing, not selling at all. Still showing bullish momentum. Yep. All right, 250 now. Okay. Yep, you're right, Rabbit. We have power hour coming up in just 7 minutes. Almost around 6 minutes, actually. See if we can't get through this macro, and then we'll see what the next hour has. So we're getting close to the last hour of today's session. Hopefully no one copied my trades. All right, good news. Not only are we headed to the power hour, but we also see price starting to coil a little tighter. So at some point, it's going to need to break out of this. So we won't have to look at this kind of price action for long. Let's go ahead and just put up our parameters so we can see when it breaks the trend. And not that these positions are scientific at all, but we do want to just see when price is doing anything different than what it's been doing. All right, looks like it's finally willing to break out of its low range. won't get too excited yet. We want to see it really push through, make a strong statement. Most likely where this dash line is at the 50% mark, if it can push through with some good speed and, break out of this kind of slump it's been in since 220-ish, 215, that'll be a good sign. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for is now here. 5 seconds, power hour begins. And let's see where it takes us. From 681. Good luck, man. Stop loss at 670. Well, we're at 830, so you mean to tell me your stop loss is 150 points away? $680. Right, so you've been in your position since about 10 o'clock. All right, there we go. So we did get a nice little break out of this area, finally. Waited for 3 o'clock to get that done. All right, we're above the 50% mark for the first time in a while. Really is first closure above there since around 210 or so. Oh, I see. I see. All right, got it. Yeah, I forget, Samuel. You're on CFDs. Sorry about that. Let's take a low risk entry here. Nah, that's too small. 6 points. Yeah. Okay. NAS 100 by Yolanda. Yep. Yeah, those numbers are going to be slightly different than futures. Right. 5 minutes after the hour. 5 minutes after the hour. Yep. Yeah. For anyone wondering why I abandoned that setup, it's because price already reached its previous high, and it already reached what TP I was looking for. Let's see where the dollar is. For anyone who's yet to hit the like button and you're enjoying the content, please do so now, so we can get a few more traders in this final hour. We have about 50 minutes left. Let's see if we can cross the 100 threshold this afternoon. All right, so last hour's low has now already been swept. Now it's going for the low of 1 o'clock, which is 798. And 788 is the new day opening gap. So we'd be back at opening prices from 1800 yesterday. Hey, there's a short on that fair value gap. That would be, how long would that be? So that's about a 15-point stop on that. Then take you down to here. It's already dug 70% into what would have been a stop loss. All right, equal highs up here. Yep. We had a tap once here, and then almost 3 times over here. Took another short at 835. All right, well, invest. You keep catching the top. Good for you. All right, on the shorts, for anyone that took this short, if this was your fair value gap entry right here, right, your TP is at around 792. And for anyone who caught it a little higher, if you waited for this fair value gap up at the top, we're just tapped in for 1 or 2 ticks. So you basically had 0 drawdown. Yep. Your 1 to 2 trade ends here. Right. Let's see where this candle that we're looking at right now lands, because we're doing one of these funnels again, where price is coiling into a tighter range and waiting for a breakout. Right. We thought this up here was a breakout, and we were gonna break out of that zone, but traded right back down into it, and so um, just like at 230, 245, price wasn't really moving anywhere. Now it's 315, and we're at the same spot. All right, that didn't help much. It just traded back in the center of that zone again. Right, we had entry of a short over here at 829, delivered 90% of the range for a 1 to 2 trade, and now it's made a full retracement. Now feels like the right time to take a short, but I haven't been seeing the market great today, so I'm going to stay out, stay on the sideline. Um, I'll just continue to forward test and just see how things play out. But there's no reason for me to enter the market again today. Yeah, today's been one of the, I look back on the last several months, today's been one of the toughest days for me. It looks like it wants these equal highs that have been made over the last, over the last hour. Okay, let's see now if price finds some support in this area and then continues to push higher, or if we see it sweep these lows down at 800. Drop this. We don't need it any longer. Okay, remember the dash line is still the 50% level of this range, 798 to 868. I'll move back up to the 5 minute unless there's anything, unless I have a reason to move down to the lower time frame. I'm going to stay here. Okay, 30 more minutes left. We're at 3:30. So far, power hour has provided very little power. All right, Rabbit. Hang on to what you earn. Keep it. All right, Elmer. Talk to you later. See you next time. All right, Math Genius. He's back. Hopefully tomorrow when we get medium news, medium impact news tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Hopefully that gives us a little momentum where we can find some good afternoon trades. I'm not sure what the morning will bring. We'll be here and we'll take a setup if we find one. Hopefully the morning is a good session. But definitely there's some medium impact news on tomorrow afternoon. I believe at 1:01, right after we get started. And then the following day, that's when everything happens. That's CPI coming at 8:30 in the morning. We have unemployment also coming in that morning. Um, and then I think there's another news event in the afternoon. Let me just double check. Yep, Thursday we have 8:30 and then 1:01, a 30-year bond auction. That's what it is. Tomorrow is a 10-year bond auction. So 10-year tomorrow, 30-year on Thursday. But the big one is CPI Thursday morning, 8:30. All right, we have a trend line. It appears to be holding price back down to the fair value gap that has pushed up each time that it's been traded down into this afternoon. First at 1:30, again at 225, then 240, then 305, 310. So several times it's traded down in here and it's always found its way out. But its ceiling is getting smaller as it follows its trend line down. So we're getting lower highs, even though the lows seem to be stable. We'll see if by the close of today we have worked our way back down to this midnight open, which sometimes you'll see price do during the power hour. We'll see if we get that by the end of today. Hmm. CPI, PPI. Yes, Zach, I will be. Absolutely. Yep. Good news is we started about 9:15, so CPI is announced at 8:30. So we'll be it'll be 45 minutes after the announcement, so we'll be able to see how price reacted to it. It'll be just before the opening bell as well, so we'll let the opening bell do its thing, and once we see price deliver, then we'll look for our own position. Yeah, it's a good thing about 8:30 news is that it's before we join our session in the morning, and so we already can see the reaction, and then we can go from there. 10 o'clock news is not my favorite because it interrupts our session, and then you want to sit back and let price settle for a bit, and so it just has us sitting on our hands too long, and we don't really get into position until after 10:30. All right, we see price now back down in the same areas, back in the fair value gap, which is previously pushed out of multiple times. But as I mentioned, sometimes during this part of the day, price wants to get back to the midnight open. Unfortunately, that means that you have a candle without a body. Um, Honestly, that happened just 2 days ago. That happened on Friday. We had a lower wick, a upper wick, and then a candle body on the daily has a very little body. So you get to the end of the day and it just retraces back to where this is the midnight open. But for that to happen, it's more of trading back to the new day opening gap. And here, the midnight open and new day opening gap are right next to each other. So we could get to the new day opening gap at 788, and then that would leave us with without a body on the candle. If we get to the midnight open, we'll be slightly bearish for the day. And now you can see price breaking down and starting to reach for those targets. Yeah, just remember today's trading as well as yesterday's. So when you have back-to-back days without any news, um, generally the consensus is if there is no high or medium impact news, you're not going to get a lot of volatility. You're not going to have a large daily range. But we did have a large daily range yesterday. And because of that, I'm not surprised that today showed that it wanted to move and then it retracted on itself. Laughter, no, I didn't. I did not get in on that. Nope. I saw it look like it possibly wanted to break out here, and it just momentum just died. It didn't develop into anything. But yeah, this morning, you're absolutely right. There was a good range that you could have caught. I had one long limit order that I had set, but it never filled my limit. And so price moved away without me, and I didn't join. after that because I felt like it had already moved away from me. And prior to that, I had tried a short that didn't work. So yeah, today has not been a day where I can say I saw the market clearly, and we'll reset and we'll start over again tomorrow. Okay, sweep of the 130 low. Finally, things been holding since then. Just been trading in range the entire time. Now we have a sweep of that low. Remember, the new day opening gap is just below that with the midnight open below it. We're getting close to 350. For anyone who's been hanging out with us for a few weeks, you know at 350, sometimes there can be some volatile movement. Not saying it's going to happen today, especially with the way the last couple of hours have been, but we could. So I'm going to be here for anyone who's uh, open to seeing if that happens. I'll still be here through 4 o'clock. Okay, the green and red areas are fair value gaps. And so fair value gaps, not sure, I'll explain it to you just in case you don't know. But it's, you want to see the wicks like to overlap. And you see this wick right here on this candle, it stops right here. And the wick on this candle stops here. And then you have the big body in the center. And so that is what they consider a fair value gap. And then once price trades all the way through and closes below, covering up the gap, then it disappears off the screen. So that's how that works. Like for instance, I'll point this one out. Here to here. See this, the wick on this candle and then the wick on this up candle created this gap here, which was there until this candle traded above and closed, and then it disappeared. So sorry if you already knew that and this was remedial. All right, looks like price may continue to push lower. Have to wait and see, but it may do that. And if it does, remember, new day opening gap at 788. Let's take a peek at the 1 minute and see what's going on that time frame. Nice. Not really, Rabbit. I can't say that I have before. Okay, another break below. So now we had the lowest trading of the afternoon. As I mentioned, the next target would be a new day opening gap, pushing towards that. Oops. Boom, look at that. New day opening gap and at the midnight open all together. Anyone who was short, congrats. Good trade. And there's the there's the 350 fireworks. Jeez. So it shot down basically 20 points in 2 seconds. And now it's charging for higher prices. All right, so that was eventful. All right, we had equal highs here, and it just swept out. Oh man, okay. All right, but you still got 300 per contract. That's pretty good. That's something, especially at the end, at the very end of the day. Um, come off in a timely manner. All right, all right, Al. Talk to you later. I'll be back 9:15 tomorrow morning. Adam, can you ask your question again? I'm not sure I follow. All right, invest outdoors. Catch you next time. Oh man, I wasn't paying attention. Look at that. From that spike downwards at 350, now we've already had 50 points upwards. Let's see if it runs these highs. That would be crazy if it ran up to 868. Remove that. Guess we don't need this new day opening gap line any longer. It's already done what it needed to do there. All right, let's see if it continues to push now that it's gone through this trend line that we made. Nope. No, but didn't fall asleep at the wheel. I have I have 4 different screens I'm looking at, and so I have other things on the other screens, and so sometimes I'm not looking at the screen that you guys see. All right, brother, free sliding in the clutch at the end, just like yesterday. I think you hit a nice trade at the end, got out of red back into the black. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for the likes. I appreciate it. All right, everyone. We're down to our last couple of minutes. Last comments, last questions. Anything else? Yeah, I think we're right there, and I think all the questions have been answered or asked. And so, again, thank you all for attending, especially the subscribers, all the new people. If you want to catch the live stream tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, make sure you subscribe. Then you'll get reminders every day as to when we're going on, and then when we go live, you will also get another reminder saying we're live and ready. So, thank you all for joining today. It was a tough session. Definitely one of the toughest ones I've seen recently. And but we'll be back tomorrow. We're resilient, and hopefully price action's better. We have news in the afternoon, so we'll see what the morning brings. But we'll be ready. And yeah, let's do it again tomorrow. Thanks for your support, everyone. I'll catch you next time.